Hey guys, welcome back to another movie review, and I'm going to talk about Blade Runner 2049. By the way, yes, I am wearing a Spider-Man onesie. It's pretty cool. I like it a lot. But anyway, let's talk about Blade Runner 2049. So I saw this movie this morning, and I absolutely love it. Everything about this movie is just so impressive, and it was just made with such care and love, and you know when you watch this movie, it just make filmmaking seems so hard. Like, if that is like the standard of like film, I can never be a filmmaker. You know what I mean? Like, it was just so good. On a technical point of view, this movie is pretty much perfect. Like, there's nothing about a technical point that is like flawed or anything. From the sound editing of this movie is out of this world. Visually, it is one of the most beautiful film ever created in the history of Earth ever. The score by Hans Zimmer, and I think there's another person who did the score. I can't remember his name, but there's two person, and one of them is Hans Zimmer. Like, it was just it has some callback to the original Blade Runner score, but it's its own thing. You know what I mean? Like, you can hear the original score in there, but this score it's the same, but it's different. If that makes sense. It was directed masterfully by Denis Villeneuve. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I don't know, but this guy with this movie it just proves to the world that he is one of the best, if not the best, modern director. Blade Runner, they set up this world that was so real, that the audience was so immersive to this world. And what Denis did with this movie is take that world and sort of, elevate it and make it even more believable. And and that's like a really high praise for like a sci-fi, because for sci-fi movie you have to create a fictional world. And when an audience see your movie and they be like, that feels so real, it felt like I'm living in that world and it could happen, in real life. That's really high praise, and I've got to give these filmmakers a lot of credit. I think the trailer did a really, really good job of hiding the plot, because you don't want to go into this movie knowing about the plot. The plot of this movie is pretty damn good. Like, the screenwriter, they've done some Oscar shit. You know what I mean? Like, they've written some Oscar worthy screenplay, and Ryan Gosling, who deliver a fantastic performance in this movie. His character is called Kay. So Kay found this little thing when he was, going around retiring all the replicants, all the old replicants. He found these things and he started investigating. It took on the case and started investigating further and further, and just follow him on the journey of finding out the answer for this case. And it's just really fascinating. I I just play myself watching this movie, because when he first start taking on the case, I'm like, I can kind of see where this film is going. Like, I try to be smarter than the filmmaker, but then they throw a bunch of curveball, and I'm like, okay, my bad, my bad, that's my bad. Speaking of, Ryan Gosling, everybody else in this movie, like, there's no bad performance in this movie. Dave Bautista, he was fantastic. Like, the transformation from professional wrestler to being a Hollywood actor, it's working out pretty well for him. Robin Wright, who's like this sort of bot superior to Ryan Gosling character, she was fantastic. This is not a spoiler, but you guys know Deckard, played by Harrison Ford. He's back. Even though he's not in the movie as much as I wanted him to be, he delivered a surprisingly terrific performance, because like at this point of his career, he can just be phoning it in and it still work for, you know, what the movie want him to be. But this movie, like because the story of this movie require him to do so much, you know, sort of character work, emotional work, that I was like, God damn, like I like for so long, like where has this been, Harrison Ford? Like, you know what I mean? Like we wanted, like, as much as I love him as Han Solo, and you know all the modern movie that he's been doing, he's never been this good for a really long time, and I was like, God damn, wow, I miss this. You know what I mean? Like he was terrific, and like there's a couple scenes of him, and I don't want to spoil it. Like, trust me, I'm doing my very best to try not to spoil this movie, because you have to go in not knowing anything. There's like 2 or 3 scenes of him that, because of the performance, was so good, and some callback to the first movie, that just make me tear up a little bit. Like, that was just how good Harrison Ford did this movie. I want to talk a little bit about Jared Leto. I thought he did a good enough job. I thought his character served the plot well, but I just don't see the need for his character to be there. Like, and again, that's just my personal opinion. I just don't. I don't feel like his character need to be in the movie. Like, if you take him out completely, it wouldn't really change much. Overall, I thought he was fine for the movie. He has this like assistant who is like the T-1000 of the Blade Runner. Like, I was just terrified. Excuse me, of this like assistant. I can't remember her name, but she was so good and so scary in this movie. There's one more person that I want to talk about. Oh, the lover of Kay. I can't remember the name of the actress either. Like, there's just something about names. I can't remember names today, but she was also really, really good. And there was a moment in this movie where, again, not trying to spoil anything, that character and another character come together. Like, that's all I don't want to spoil it, but like there's one scene where the 2 characters sort of come together, and just the way that they did it, my jaw just dropped. Like, I was just looking at the screen like I'm seeing this, right? Everybody, I'm looking at it like, guys, we seeing this, right? How is it even possible? Like, the CG, the visual effect, the acting, like, and the directing, like, all that just come together so beautifully in that one scene. And I was just looking at it. I just can't believe my eye. I just can't believe that a human being, a group of human beings like me, created that. That was insane. Now, there's a couple things that I was worried for Blade Runner 2049. 2 things that I want to talk about. That going in, I feel a bit worried for this movie. Number one, it's very easy for the studio to be like, okay, you know what, the first Blade Runner is like a cult classic. Let's just take that idea, sort of soft reboot it into a sci-fi action franchise so they can make money out of it. That's my like biggest concern for this movie, is that they're gonna turn this into a Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're gonna turn this into a Star Wars or DC Extended Universe. They're gonna turn this into the money maker for the studio. The second one is that for the audience, when they watch the trailer, I was worried that they're gonna go into this movie expecting a sci-fi action movie. They're gonna expect a franchise sort of movie, and I just want to tell you guys that don't go into this movie expecting like this, you know, gigantic, epic sci-fi action Star Wars, Star Trek type movie. It's not. It's not an action movie. Matter of fact, there's only like 3 or 4 action sequences, and they're pretty short. And you know, for like the mainstream audience who want to watch like exciting movie, this is not for them. You know what I mean? And which is why, sadly, this movie is not going to make a lot of money, because for a mainstream audience, it's gonna be boring. It's gonna feel slow. And to be fair, it is slow. It's almost 3 hours, and the pacing could be a problem. And like, because I watched this movie like early in the morning, I was yawning, and I was like, struggling to keep my eyes open. This movie was made for film fan, if that make any sense. Like, if you are like a big fan of like filmmaking, like the art of filmmaking, this movie is like a treat for you from start to finish. But you're just like a mainstream audience who really enjoy like exciting action movie and like exciting sci-fi adventure. Sadly enough, this film is not for you. Which bring me to one of my problem with this movie, is that the pacing could be a pain in the ass. Like, listen, the movie is great. It's like no doubt about it. But it was, I feel like it was a tad bit too long. It was just a little bit too long. There's certain things that could be taken out of this. There some plot point that was brought up and just didn't go anywhere. And then again, the character of Jared Leto, Wallace, he didn't need to be in the movie. Again, personal opinion. But other than that, this movie is a masterpiece. Like, to me, it's a masterpiece, like a sci-fi masterpiece. And you don't see a lot of those these days, like movie like this or Arrival, same director. And if you ask me if this movie surpassed the original, I would say yes. This movie, to me, is a lot better than the original Blade Runner. And the original Blade Runner is pretty damn good. So that's saying a lot. Blade Runner 2049 is one of my favorite movies this year, and I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I do recommend seeing this movie in a Dolby Cinema, because you get a free massage every time the sound is like, there's like a crazy, sort of epic scene going on. Like, the sound make your seat like shake, and like there's like a lot of like 80% of these movies like make your seat sort of like shake like that. And it's like, so there you go, guys. That's my review for Blade Runner 2049. It was really hard to keep this review spoiler free. As much as I love myself another MCU or another DC or another Star Wars movie, it's kind of sad that these days they don't make movie like Blade Runner 2049 anymore to make room for those Marvel, the DC movie. And it's a shame, to be honest. And I encourage you guys to go support these movie, because it is a fantastic sci-fi masterpiece. There you go, guys. That's my review for Blade Runner 2049. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this, click the like button and subscribe to me if you want to see more reviews. And in the comment section, let me know how you feel about this movie. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Just tell me. Just discuss this movie in the comment section. Be respectful, because there's a lot of opinion. Different opinions. So let's try to be respectful in the comment section. With that being said, I'll see you soon.